All right, goodness. Next up, it is West Ham at the Emirates. West Ham will be coming in with a brand new manager, Nuno Espírito Santo, who's got an interesting record against Arsenal. Now, listen, this game is so important, not just about 3 points, it's about keeping the momentum, especially after the fight against Newcastle. So if we slip in this game, I think it will be huge. It will allow Liverpool to get back in on the race. And with us playing ahead of Liverpool, I think we can put a lot of pressure in it. So if we win this game, we stay top. We go into the international break as the top dogs. So let's break it down. All right, guys. So Arsenal at the Emirates, always a great game, always a great experience. Wish I was going into this game as well. But I think let's just look at the background in this game. You've got Nuno, who's coming to Arsenal. He's got an interesting record, like I say. In the last 10 games, according to Transfer Market, he's won 3, he's drawn 3, and he's lost 4, which is a decent record, especially against a team like Arsenal. And West Ham away is never comfy for us. I don't know what it is. They're just one of those teams that always like to create problems for us. And the last time they came to the Emirates, we remember that game. We were smashing them, all over the park without scoring. And then we had this transition break and Bowen, did the business. So that recent memory is painful. The thing is that West Ham are coming with a fragility, right? And of course, you don't sack your manager if things are going right. So obviously, Graham Potter lost his job. Nuno is coming, who I think is a step up to Potter. No question about that. And he already showed in the first game against Everton where West Ham drew 1-1. They've shown a little bit more resilience because if you remember, Everton went ahead in that game. And traditionally, they would have buckled, but they didn't. They kept their heads in, stuck in it, and eventually got an equalizer. And that's how that game ended. So it's so important for us that we take advantage of that fragility. That means that the first couple of minutes is so important for Arsenal. We've got to strike first. We've got to strike hard. We've got to try and give them no hope whatsoever because they've had big defeats. We're talking about 3-0 to Sunderland. I think there was a 5-1 there against Chelsea and potentially another 3 goals against Tottenham. So Arsenal at home, you've got to win this game. No excuse, take advantage of their defensive frailties. And that actually leads me to what I believe are the key themes for this game. I think the first thing for us is that we've got to start fast. No dilly-dallying. These are the kind of games where you don't allow the opposition get any confidence. I've said that already. So they can hurt us. Jared Bowen has done that. He's got career 4 goals against Arsenal in 11 appearances. So you can't afford to give him space, especially in transition. And then second for me is midfield control and balance. We know what Zubimendi and Rice gives to us. But the question is number 10. Who plays that number 10 for Arsenal? Is it Saka? Is it Ødegaard? We'll talk about that. But if you look at the Olympiacos game, Saka, Ødegaard, and Eze finished that game on the pitch. It was exciting. I quite liked it. I love what I saw. And it would be interesting to see whether Mikel Arteta was trying something to say, hey, let's have a look at these 3 players on the pitch at the same time. I think he's intentional like that. And this might be a sign of things to come. So something that we can get really excited about. Okay, we talked about this. Exploiting West Ham weaknesses. Their defense is not so great, at least up until that Everton game. Got to take advantage of it. And I have a feeling that this sort of game would be better for Gyökeres. I think this might be a breakout game for him. I know we keep saying it, that he's going to, but I keep seeing signs, of him really unlucky against Olympiacos that he didn't get that goal in. But I think that would just give him encouragement. So this might be the game for Gyökeres. And then looking at ourselves, our backline, our defensive solidity, this has been the story of Arsenal so far. We've only considered 3 goals in all competitions that we've played. That should encourage us. And we've had injuries to players, Gabriel, Saliba, Mosquera has come in and stepped in and done the business. And what I really like is our strength in our fullback. Lewis Kelly, Ben White. And I know Ben White is not quite up there yet, but I think that we will get to a point in the season that we can swap and change any of those, and it doesn't feel like there's a drop off. And I actually appreciate the different fullbacks that we have because their styles are a little bit different. You kind of saw Lewis Kelly in the Olympiacos game coming into the midfield a little bit more. He was, creating a lot of fouls, from the opposition. They were kicking him down. And that's important in some games, especially if you want to kill the momentum. And he's very aggressive. He knows how to win the ball and defend the ball. So I really love that. So defensive solidity is going to be key for us. Right, which brings me to the 11. My prediction in terms of the team that is going to make the pitch. Obviously, we start with Raya, right? No questions there. So let's just move on. Raya in goal. And then you have your back four. See, I will go with the same sort of philosophy that I went against Newcastle. So obviously, you've got Timber, you got Calafiori. They're there, right? And then you've got Saliba. But for me, I wouldn't want to rush. I wouldn't want to rush Gabriel back, as I just realized that I didn't have my microphone close to me. So I hope the audio hasn't been terrible. So I wouldn't have Gabriel rush in because we're going to need him. There's lots of games this season. We're talking about 40, 50 games. If he's not ready to go, he's not ready to go. And especially, this is the international break coming up, right? He's probably going to be traveling to somewhere, for Brazil, right? And so for me, if it's touch and go, let's hold him back. We're going to need him after the international break because we've got a run of fixtures that we can really stamp our authority on. So that is the backline, guys. Let me know your thoughts about that. And then we come into the midfield. Obviously, you got Zubimendi, you've got Rice. Those are a lock. It does make me wonder, because Zubimendi now has played Newcastle, Olympiacos, and I wonder whether Mikel might want to try something a little bit different with Christian Norgard. Yeah, so just something to watch out, for as well, because that's 3 games in quick succession. So, and it is a 3 o'clock kickoff. So there might be something in there. But either way, you got Zubimendi and Rice. I think that is the partnership there. And then now the question is number 10. I would really love to see Eze continue to play that number 10 because he showed quite a lot against Newcastle, right? And I love that. Although I saw something in the Olympiacos game, and maybe it's me projecting a little bit. Maybe it's me just trying to see something that's not really there. But I did feel like Gyökeres benefited a lot more from Ødegaard being on the pitch. And it feels like Ødegaard has got the keys to really unlock Gyökeres. So I think Arteta might go with his captain. I think Arteta may have seen that and think, we can unlock Gyökeres here in this game. Let's have Ødegaard. Or better still, I'm going to come into the next part of the pitch. Do we see Eze still maybe on that left-hand side? Because we saw a glimpse of Eze, against Olympiacos with Ødegaard on the pitch and also Saka on the pitch. So that's a combination that I would like to, just turn that a little bit. I want to see that, just cook that a little bit more, just see what kind of thing that we come out, because I feel like there's going to be a nice, sweet smelling fragrance, when we have those 3 players cooking in that midfield for Arsenal. But let's see what that is. Of course, Gyökeres, starts up, and then of course you've got Saka that I've already mentioned. Okay, guys. I want to talk about something, about this game. And Mikel Arteta have called them finishes. But we've seen in the last couple of games how substitutes have come in. You look at Athletic, you look at Port Vale, you look at Newcastle, and then you also look at Olympiacos, how the bench has been so important in getting Arsenal over the line. And I want that to be a habit So it means that our bench, there is no drop off, no matter who it is that is playing for us. And one player that I want to actually call out is Martinelli, right? Because a few people wanted Martinelli gone. And I was one of those guys that just said, hey, this is a big game player. We're talking about a player that has scored against some of the big teams that we've played in: Man City, Liverpool, Chelsea, Real Madrid. Why would you want to get rid of a player like that, right? And listen, he had an injury the season before last, and I've said all this before. You got to give the young man grace, especially as he, Saka, and Smith Rowe really dragged Arsenal back into contention. And that's Martinelli. I think, I would love to see him, coming in a lot more games. I think we now have a picture of where he's probably going to start more games than not. But I think if we can get that combination with Eze right, I see him coming off the bench and still making a massive impact, still getting his goals, still getting his assists, which is very important. And then Gyökeres was good again in Europe, lucky not to score. His effort off the post, Martinelli put that in. I think that's striker gravity. I really do. And I expect him in this match to really bully those centre backs. Okay, where is this game going to be won or lost? In my view, if we don't start slow, if we make sure that we counter Bowen's threat, because I think he's the goal scorer here in this game. Paquetá is another player you've got to keep an eye on, as well. And let's not forget Diouf. Diouf that has come into this West Ham team, and he's been good. He's been electric, especially coming down that left-hand side. And he's very good at that first-time cross. If you watch that Everton game, you saw him put in a lot of first-time crosses. So we've got to be careful with that, especially if we've got Timber, bombing to, up front. So last season, it was transition, on the left-hand side for us. I think this might be transition on the right-hand side, especially with Diouf pace. So we've got to watch out for that. And then we've got to have game management. Game management is so important. We cannot allow this game to get away from us. We're at home. We should win. End of. No questions asked. So brings me to my prediction, guys. In this game, what do I think would happen? I want to go for the 2-0 to Arsenal. We've had, 2-0, 2 goals in the last 2 games. I think we continue that trend. We score another 2 goals. We shut the door. Maybe one from Gyökeres, maybe one from Saka. I would be great with that. 2 games, 2 goals, job done. We keep it moving. Okay, guys, that's the picture. That's my preview. Arsenal against West Ham. I know that Nuno knows how to frustrate us. He's going to go with that. If you heard his press conference, he's already talking about dealing with our corners and things like that. So I'm sure he's going to have 1 or 2 things up his sleeve, right? But guys, this will get dropped very soon. And debrief, of course, we're going to have the pavilion debrief. Win, lose, or draw, guys. 3 ups, 3 downs. We'll be talking all about the game. And also check out my other videos on the Gunnar Pavilion. Did the 3 ups, 3 downs to the Olympiacos game, as well. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Put it in the comments as well. Let me know what your predictions are. What do you think about this game? Who do you think will be in the lineup? I'd love to hear from you as well. Until the next one, guys. Come on, you Gunners.